Okay, so that was actually from the week before, but the one that aired Sunday was, man, oh man, that was stressful to watch.
It was pretty stressful, right?
Yeah.
It was stressful for me too.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen any of it really. I saw it for the first time on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we had a screening at the Chinese Theatre in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And, you know, the reaction that the episode got was just overwhelming.
Yeah, it was...
Yeah, I think because when people are in the dark and they're with a big, large group of people, they feel kind of anonymous, so they don't mind being super responsive.
Uh-huh.
Very, very vocal.
A lot of screaming.
Lots of screaming,
Yeah.
lots of gasping.
Gasping.
I had my girlfriend next to me, and I managed to not tell her anything about the episode, and I still have the nail marks in my arm.
Yeah.
I think I've got some whole fingernails in my arm.
Well, you probably can't tell her anything that you shoot, right? Do you sometimes, are you able to?
No, I think that she's a huge fan of the show.
Right, she doesn't want to know.
No, she wants to experience those moments the way everybody does.
Now, I don't think you should have survived. Do you? I mean, I don't...
Thank you.
I don't know how you survived that. There was people dying all around you, and somehow you survived the entire thing.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to survive either.
Yeah.
Because you're always kind of looking at the script for those episodes with kind of one eye open.
Yeah.
You're so nervous, and you know people say, "Oh, Sam can't die. Sam's too important, or Sam's too beloved." You know, and you just think, God, don't you watch this show?
Yeah.
Have you never seen the show before? Kind of important and beloved doesn't matter to us.
No, not at all.
Nobody's sacred, and nobody's kind of safe in Game of Thrones. And, you know, people say things like, oh, Game of Thrones is one of those shows where all your favourite characters die. And I'm like, what does that say about me?
Yeah, right.
I'm still around.
That's true. But now, do you stick around to do you know how it ends?
Well, I thought I knew how it was going to end, and we definitely shot an ending. I can tell you that. But I read an interview with our showrunners not so long ago when they said the actors think they know how it's going to end. So, you know, actors' paranoia instantly kicks in. You think, what does that mean?
So you don't know?
I don't know what I know.
Right.
Is true.
Because he may be just saying that to make you think you don't know, but you may know.
I may ultimately know.
But you may not know.
But I'm not going to know that I know until I know that I know.
Right, exactly. I'm with you. People were complaining that, because you shot the whole thing at night, right?
Yeah, 55 nights.
I was going to say, how long did it take to shoot that?
Yeah, 55 nights in winter in Belfast, so working from, 11 whole weeks of working from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Oh, my God.
So disorientating and such a weird experience.
I'm sure. And how many extras were there?
There were hundreds. Hundreds of extras. Because if you know anything about the show, you know that there was Unsullied at Winterfell and Wildlands at Winterfell, and you can't get the same extras for both because they look so different.
Right.
So yeah, we had hundreds of extras around, and it was a very intense atmosphere. And yeah, it's one of those things shooting at night that if you do it for that long, you just lose all touch with reality at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's freezing, and I mean, to choreograph the fight scenes and with all the horses there and everything, it's really amazing. It's an amazing show. It's everyone's sad to see it end. Yeah,
and the thing about kind of episodes like this is we've always had set-piece episodes in the past where everything kind of comes together and you get an explosive, usually a battle episode. But I think always in the past, they've had to keep an eye on it because they think we need to top this next year.
Yeah.
We need to better this next year.
Yeah.
But this is the first year that we don't have to think about that.
Right.
We can just kind of pull out all the stops. Now it's for other people to try and top it. So
yeah, it's such a great show. And your character, I understand, helped change a fan's life, right?
Yeah.
Tell me that story.
Yeah, I was in London a few years ago, probably after season 3, so a good few years ago now, and a guy came up to me and he said, I just want to say that because of your character and your character's development and the bravery that your character's discovered in himself, I found the courage within myself to ask out the girl that I've been in love with my entire life. And I'd never told her I was worried about rejection, and I asked her, and then she said that she'd felt that same way about him.
Oh, wow.
And then they were together. And I don't know if they're still together. I hope they are. I mean, please don't blame me if it went wrong. It's not my fault. But that's the kind of thing where, you know, you can talk about viewers, you can talk about how many countries the show is watched in, but when you realise what impact you're making on lives like that, you feel in a real privileged position. Yeah,
and especially because that was not only, that was your first audition. You had never auditioned for anything, and you got this show.
Yeah, it seems so long ago now. I mean, that was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd just come out of drama training, and yeah, I think as an actor, your first audition's always a daunting... Oh.
Oh. You're like 12 years old there.
Yeah. your first audition's always a daunting prospect, no
Yeah.
matter what it is. So I wasn't even thinking about getting it. I found
Yeah.
out it was this American HBO show, and I was just
Right.
like, I'm not even going to think about getting it. I just don't want to embarrass myself or
Yeah.
embarrass my agent that I
Yeah.
just signed with. I didn't want, my agent to get emails saying, who the hell was that guy?
Yeah.
Why waste our time with him? And then when it looked kind of more and more likely that I was going to get it, that's when everything changed. But no, it just seemed like life doesn't happen like that, and
Yeah.
you don't get jobs like that. And fingers crossed that people had the faith in me that I could do it, and that feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, well, life does happen like that sometimes. It's
Yeah.
amazing what surprises are in store. Congratulations, the show is great. You're great on the show,
Thank
and
you.
I'm really happy that you got the job and you could affect other people's lives.
That's really kind.
Great.
Thank you so
Game
much.
of Thrones airs Sundays at 9 on HBO. We'll be right back.